Hello traders and welcome back to another market update. My name is Nick, and in today's video we're going to take a look at the currency market and look for some major trend line levels. We're going to look for major support zones, resistance zones, all sorts of technical analysis. And let's go through the major pairs for starters, and then we have a couple extra ones to take a look at today as well. So let's start with EURUSD. What we're looking at here is the 4-hour chart currently, but if I back it up to the daily, what I'd point out here is the EURUSD is still continuing to climb, and if we point out this trend line here, you can actually see that price has broken cleanly through this downtrend structure that we've seen for the last long time here on EURUSD, right? Many months we've seen a very bearish euro dollar, and we've recently saw price break through that structure and actually start to head up. Now, if you notice, we did get a retest here on that same trend line before price decided to rally. So very, very strong push to the upside there on the EURUSD. However, we are coming into some areas of interest going forward. You can see that we do have this zone here of resistance potentially if price does continue a little bit higher, and currently price is testing a level of resistance right at current areas, right? So this whole zone here looks like a potential level where we may see some sort of a pullback as price is looking a bit stretched to the upside here on EURUSD. We'll see how it plays out from here. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be pound USD. And you can see this pair as well rocketing to the high side quite a bit. GBPUSD really breaking out of its downtrend structure here. In fact, if we pull up the 200-day simple moving average, you can see that price is cleanly broken through this level. As many viewers may know by now, I use the 200-day as a simple trend filter to kind of understand which direction the market is moving for the most part. And you can see price is breaking through this 200-day moving average, and we're seeing some continuation to the upside. I think going forward, if price decides to give us a pullback, that 200-day might actually be an interesting level to look for potential bounce opportunities going forward. Just something to consider there. I think that GBPUSD is not something that I would buy at this current time, but that if we do see some pullbacks, there might be some opportunities to trade in the direction of the move. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be dollar yen. Dollar yen here currently kind of chopping around actually back and forth overall in this market. You can see if I overlay some trend lines here, we do have some zones of support and resistance that price has just kind of been respecting and holding. Going forward, you can see price is still choppy and undecisive around this area here, but I think that this area for the most part is a resistance zone, right? If we look left, you can see the market kind of respecting this zone of resistance and now pulling back off that level. I wouldn't be surprised if we do start to see some chatter to the downside off of this level. Of course, the overall trend in this market is not very decisive, right? So we do have some of this just sideways action. So my bias would lean towards seeing a market that continues to chop around and be undecisive for the time being. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be Brent crude. Brent crude really chopping around too. You can see not really being decisive here on the daily chart, and if we drop it down to the 4-hour chart, we have some range trading going on, and I guess you could make the argument that we do have a broken down trend line here, which may lead to some further volatility if we see a further breakdown on oil. Should be interesting to see if we can see kind of a breakout. We've seen the breakout. We saw the retest here, right? Price broke through, retested, and found resistance. If we see some continuation, if we see some of this momentum pick up, then there might be some opportunities to trade some of the breakouts that we may see here on oil. Now, WTI crude is our next one, which is probably going to look very similar. You can see relatively choppy as well, but in this case, we have not seen a major break of this structure, and maybe that's what oil is waiting for. If we start to see something like this play out where price breaks through a retest, that might be an opportunity to look for sell side opportunities on a retest. That's just a simple idea that you could play around with on WTI crude. Now, XAU USD, this is gold. Look at this market, also indecisive, but we do have some trend lines that I'd like to draw in and check up on. You can see that this zone here still holding as a seller's market for the short term. The time being, you can see longer term, we still have an upwards market. And if we overlay the 200-day moving average, you can still see that we are long shot still in bullish territory and not out of the question to see potential continuation to the upside at some point. For now, the sellers are holding control as we've broken underneath this major trend line level here. You can see, or this trend line here that we pointed out was bullish, now held as a bearish zone, and now we're seeing some downward momentum in the market. We'll see where it goes from here. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one, which is going to be GBPJPY on the weekly chart. I did this on purpose so that we could take a look at this longer term trend line that it looks like price wants to head up to. You can see that long term we have kind of these major structure highs where price is kind of just barreling towards, right? We're just seeing a lot of bullish momentum here on GJ. And if we do make its way up here, I would not be kind of surprised to see price want to find some sort of seller rejection along that longer term downtrend structure. Just wanted to point that out here on GBPJPY, nothing further really. I just wanted to point out that long-term downtrend that may be coming into play. Swiss yen here, pound yen, pound Swiss. I'm messing up my letters today. Looking pretty interesting here on the daily, seeing a lot of bullish momentum. We've really broken out on this pair, and you can see if I insert the 200-day on this one, really bullish move. You can see we just broke through, we held that zone, and now finding some support from there. Just as we had kind of mentioned earlier, a lot of times when the support zone will, or the resistance zone of the 200-day moving average will break out, a lot of times it will act potentially as support going forward, and that's what I'm looking to see on pound Swiss. If we do see some current moves to the upside, there might be a trade along the breakout of this recent structure. We wouldn't be out of the question if we do see a break of that structure, some sort of retest and continuation could be a nice trade to trade in this direction that we have the dominant momentum going up on pound pairs. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of the video, and we will catch you next time.